You've been doing trade-ups wrong this whole time, and today I'm gonna show you how to fix that and how to make getting low floats for trade-ups even easier. Now we're gonna be talking about buy orders today, but we're gonna take a deep dive, figuring out what skin is the best skin to put your buy orders on using data from a database with over 1 billion skins registered. This method is gonna increase the amount of good float skins you get from your buy orders, supported by math and statistics, and not only will I explain how to do it, but I will also be testing and demonstrating how powerful this method is. Now this video requires a basic understanding of how buy orders work, and if you're not familiar with them yet, then I'd recommend checking out this video first, and once you've watched it, return to this video, and then we can continue. Are you looking for cheap low float skins for trade-ups? Check out today's sponsor, SkinsMonkey. It's the most convenient trading bot site where you don't have to overpay for low floats. I found this 0.08 Op Elite build and this 0.09 M4 Tooth Fairy, and the tradable M4 was delivered to my inventory instantly. If you apply code TECHSAVVY, you get a 5% deposit bonus, and you also get a $5 trading bonus when you start trading. Don't worry if you don't have any skins, just head over to freebies and you'll find 3 giveaways, all the way up to a gut knife gamma doppler, so use my link in the description to start finding deals on low float skins today. Now in this video, I'm going to be talking about the new float calculator that CSROI.com came out with recently, and before every single human being watching this video clicks off, this video is not sponsored by CSROI.com. I'm making this video because my friend, the owner, Brongo, reached out, letting me know of these new features, and after I tested it, it's such a good tool that I just had to share it. To demonstrate this method, I'm going to be using this trade up, which requires 7 minimum wear mil specs from the snakebite case, and 3 factory new mil specs from the danger zone case. You're gonna want to keep the average float below 0.07 to make sure everything comes in factory new, and from this trade up you'll profit on the Deagle trigger discipline, but the real money comes from the AK slate. You have a 14% chance of hitting it, and you'll profit $7.61 from it. If you've ever hit the AK slate from this trade up, then smash the like button to show me that you did. Now again, as I said, we're gonna be using buy orders to get these skins, at least the snakebite skins, and my assumption previously has been to put the buy orders on the skins with the lowest float caps, because to me it kind of made sense that the lower the float cap, the lower the average float of the skins that you get from buy orders. And this assumption probably would be true if the floats were linearly distributed. Linearly distributed just means that every single float has the same probability. And as it turns out, this is not the case. Now I was aware of this because the biggest database, CS Float, actually posted a blog a really long time ago about the non-linear distribution of floats on Counter-Strike skins. Now I could start yapping about probability distributions and all that, but everyone would leave, so I'll do my best to explain it in simple terms. The easiest way to think about it is to break up the float range into 100 different subsections. So you'll have a section going from 0 to 0.01, then from 0.01 to 0.02, and so on until you get to 0.99 to 1. Now if floats were linearly distributed, that would mean that if you generate one random skin, each of those 0.01 wide subsections would have a 1% chance of containing the actual float. Now this couldn't be further from the truth, and in fact, minimum wear and well-worn skins are a lot more common than they should be. This also means that if you get a random skin, there's not a 7% chance of it being factory new, but CS Float has statistically shown that it's only around 3%. Here are the actual odds to get the different conditions, and these numbers already account for the fact that the different float ranges have different sizes. Now if you zoom into just one condition, such as minimum wear, you'll notice that the line looks flat. This means that within conditions, floats are linearly distributed, so it's just as likely that you get a 0.07 skin as to get a 0.14 skin. But if this is the case, then what am I yapping about that there's something to be improved about buy orders? Well, I haven't given you the full story yet. It is true that within a condition, floats are linearly distributed if your skin has a full float range of 0 to 1. But if your skin has a different float range, you essentially take the distribution of a full float range skin and you compress it into the float range of the skin that you're looking at. You can already see that this messes things up because now the changes in probability density do not line up with the borders of the different conditions. And you can also probably already tell that buy ordering Nova Windblowns in factory new is not going to be good because there's an astronomical probability that you'll get a skin with a float of above 0.5. You also might notice that there are some gaps between the blue bars on CSROI, and that is not an accident, and it's also not a design decision. Those gaps are actually float ranges that are impossible for these skins. Well, at least opening them from cases. The existence of these gaps is not super relevant to this video, and I have made a video about it quite a while ago. Maybe I should update it. So if you're interested, then I'll leave a link to that video in the description. Now, if you're still here, still paying attention, and if you enjoy in-depth videos about skins like this one, then scroll down and smash that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss the next one. Now let's actually head over to CSROI.com. I'm not gonna lie, it is not exactly trivial to find this page. First, you're gonna have to pick a case. In my case, it's gonna be the snakebite case. Then click the case, and then up top, click item and float drop chances, and here are all the skins that you can pick from. And for example, let's check out the Nova Windblown that has the lowest average float shown in the bottom right corner of each skin. This is what I previously would have assumed to be the best. Once you're here, you have a very good visual representation of the float distribution, and next what you're going to want to do is, since we want minimum wear skins, I'm going to click on minimum wear. This is going to restrict the range from 0.07 to 0.15, and I'm going to set the average float to the average float that I want, which is 0.087. This will auto-populate the max float, so the float range that we're aiming for is skins between 0.07 and 0.1065. Now, if you look over here in the bottom right, you'll see that where it says 0.07 to 0.1065, it has a percent, which is 46.58%. And this means that every minimum wear Nova Windblown that was unboxed from a case has a 46.58% chance of coming in a float of between 0.07 and 0.1065. Now, this is where we make a little bit of an assumption. We're kind of assuming that the floats from buy orders is the same as floats from cases, which is definitely not going to be the case. There are going to be people dumping bad floats on you, but there's definitely also people that just don't check the floats before they sell to buy orders, so this is not a bad approximation actually. Now I'll pop up these percentage values for all snakebite mil specs, and you can see that the highest one is actually the M249 OSIPR with a percent of 65.86%. So nearly 2/3 of the skins that you get from buy orders should in theory be usable floats. Now the reason we're allowing up to a float of a little over 0.1 is because the idea is that if you get a really low float skin like 0.071, that will balance out the float of a higher float skin like a 0.104, making the average float still around 0.087. So now we know that the best snakebite mil spec to set buy orders on is the M249 OSIPR, and I feel like if you're still watching and still paying attention, at this point it's safe to assume that you know how to set buy orders. So I'm gonna set 50 buy orders on M249 OSIPRs, the skin that we just determined is the best to put buy orders on, and I'm also gonna put 50 buy orders on UMP oscillators, the skin that I thought would be the best previously. Now that buff is gone, it is harder than ever to sell your CS2 skins. But if you like to sell them, I'm buying skins for PayPal, and I recently bought this M4 Howl in minimal wear. Now I don't just buy expensive skins, I also buy cheap skins all the way down to just a couple dollars. So if you want to sell your skin quickly and safely for PayPal, then direct message me on Discord and I'll cash you out. So to do this, head over to the community market, scroll down until you see Counter-Strike 2, show advanced options. Under the collection, select the Snakebite collection. Under exterior, select minimal wear. For quality, do mil spec, and category is normal. Then once you search, I'm gonna open up the M249 OSIPR's page, and here you can see the buy orders. There's 80,000 for 23 cents, which is perfect, and we're gonna set buy orders at 24 cents. So we'll select the price at 24 cents, then I'll set 50 buy orders. Then once you agree to the terms and conditions, you can place your order, and now all that you have to do is wait for the orders to be filled. Since we're at the highest buy order price, it should be pretty fast. Within a couple hours, it should start filling in. So then I did the same thing for the UMP oscillator, set 50 buy orders at 24 cents. For the oscillators, there's a couple at 24 cents. So actually, I might set them at 23 cents. It will take longer for the skins to start coming through, but it'll also be cheaper. So let's wait until we get the 100 items. So we waited a little bit, the UMPs took a bit longer, but the OSIPRs came in a day. And for the UMPs, here are the results. The good floats are highlighted in green, the bad floats are in red. I decided to keep everything below a float of 0.105, and 17 out of 50, so 34% of UMP oscillators came in that float range. So 34% of what I got would be usable in the AK Slate trade up. Now 34% is below the percent that CSROI said, but let's look at the M249s. Out of 50 items, 28 were usable floats, once again below a float of 0.105, which is 56% of all the skins. Once again, this percentage is lower than what CSROI said, and that's just because our assumption that the floats are the same for buy orders and opening cases is simply not quite true. There are going to be more people selling bad floats to buy orders, and that's why the percents were skewed towards the higher floats a little bit. And while this test of 100 items is nowhere near statistically significant, it still goes to show that this method actually works. And in this case, we got significantly more good floats by buy ordering the right items, the M249 versus the UMP. If you've learned something from this video so far, then smash the subscribe button to not miss out any of these in the future. Alright, I managed to put together 7 trade-ups from the 100 items, and the fillers I just sniped. And if you're still watching this video and you understood everything so far, then you definitely know how to snipe skins. So let's get started with an AK slate. Ya yeet. Oh, that's a cyber shell. We have 6 more attempts though, so we should get one statistically. 14% is 1 in 7, so let's get the AK slate. Oh, ticket to hell. That's not profit, but it is better than any other fail outcome, I think. Maybe the M4 Night Terror would have been slightly better. AK slate. Oh, button masher. Alright, we're almost halfway through, and we've got nothing to show for it. It would be very sad if I put in all this effort, and we would have nothing to show for it, so give me the AK slate. Oh, that's another fail outcome. We got 3 more attempts. I am hopeful. AK slate. Okay, trigger discipline. I'll take it. That's a profit. I'll take that. Come on, this has to be it. AK slate. Okay, another trigger discipline. Cannot complain. Who am I to complain about profits? But I think this is the last one. Gaben, oh Gaben, give me the AK slate in 3, 2, 1. Yes, let's go. Last outcome is the AK slate. Thank you, Gaben. Thank you for saving this trade-up session. Thank you. So next I wanted to examine a couple other popular trade-ups to see if there's any significant improvement that can be made. The first one is this mil-spec to restricted revolution trade-up, where you need 10 mil-specs under a float of 0.0875, and by far the best one for this is going to be the Scar, where 60.32% of skins come in usable floats. The next trade-up is going to be this AK Ice Cold trade-up, where the difference is very minimal, but the M249 Downtown still does come out with the edge at 41.2%, versus the other skins with 37 or 31%. The next trade up is this Dreams and Nightmares mil-spec restricted trade up, where you need 10 minimal wear skins with a float of below 0.092. Mag 7 is 79% and the Scar is 72%. The Mag 10 is also 61%, but it's a little more expensive, and the other skins are only 34%, so the clear winners are the Scar and the Mag 7. Now these first 3 examples were unsurprising. The best skin for buy orders has been, for all of these trade ups, the skins with the lowest float caps. But the next 2 examples are going to teach us something very important. So for this next one, you're going to need 10 classified field-tested skins from the Prisma case with an average float of below 0.1875, and usually you would only use XMs because they are the cheapest. However, taking a look at the percentages, the XM is below 20%, while the AUG is 51%. So even though the AUG is a little bit more expensive, if you're going to use buy orders for this trade-up, I'd still recommend putting buy orders for the AUG versus the XM. And as you can see, the trade up with the AUG is still plenty profitable. Now with this one, don't expect to get half of your skins in usable floats from buy orders still. The Prisma case is quite an old case, and we are talking about pinks, so expect to get a lot less than half of good floats, but still it should be a lot more from the AUGs than the XMs. And the last example I have here is the StatTrak Factory new M4 Black Lotus trade up, where you need 10 StatTrak minimal wear restricteds with an average float of below 0.1. Now because of prices, ideally you'd want to use the sawed-off, the MP7, or the 5.7, of which the clear winner is the sawed-off, with 94% of skins being usable floats. Now the Glock is actually even higher. Over 96% of Glocks come in usable floats, but because of the price differences, I wouldn't recommend using Glocks. The difference in percent is not very big, so just use the sawed-offs. So quick recap, today I showed you that you've been buy ordering the wrong skins the whole time you've been doing trade-ups. I also showed you how you can figure out what skin is the best skin. I ran an experiment to test if it's actually better. Then of course I did the trade-ups, and finally I showed you 5 popular profitable trade-ups and showed you which skins are the best to buy order, and there's a lot to be learned from it. I learned a lot while making this video, and hopefully you learned a lot as well. Thanks again to Brongo for making this website. Let me know what you thought about this format of video, and if you want to see more methods on how to easily get low float skins for trade-ups, then check out this video next, where I show 3 different methods.